Tropical Storm Erin is strengthening and heading westward, and we have tropical storm watches up for the Northern Leeward Islands. We're going to talk about that. Also, the very warm and humid conditions that are continuing in the eastern part of the United States for the most part through the weekend. And we will, of course, expound endlessly about where we think all of this is going. And that's right here tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, which you can support if you choose to. I'm not, I don't want to force anybody, okay? And it doesn't cost you a dime. But if you happen to be shopping on Amazon, use our referral link at the top of the chat board or on the descriptor to this podcast, because if you do, Amazon throws us back a little bit of coin for your shopping. It doesn't cost you a dime out of your pocket. It's out of theirs. And it's a great way because we really like to keep the podcast, the live version of the podcast, commercial free, and we have been, and we would like to continue to do so. So consider doing your Amazon shopping via our referral link. And Tempest by Weatherflow, if you happen to be shopping for a weather station, do it at the Tempest website. And you'll join the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. The link for this is on the descriptor to this podcast on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, right under the title of tonight's show. Use that coupon code Summer 2025 because a magical thing happens, Joe, when you use the coupon code Summer 2025.
Yes. In case you were looking at me off to one side, I was looking up.
Nobody could see you.
Something, no, just over the edge of the Tempest side, you were able to see me looking like that. And something happened to my light, but I was able to fix it.
It was actually the Lord himself coming down and lowering a sign that the coupon code is
Summer 2025, and you will get a big 10% off.
That's right.
Yes.
So we're here at Thursday, and I was looking at some of the maps, and it's probably going to be another 6 or 7 days before Erin makes its recurve, which I think it's going to do. It might get close to the easternmost Bahamas, and it might get close to the Outer Banks of North Carolina. It will go west of Bermuda, so that's a plus. But the way the upper air sets up, it's making a rather sharp turn, and over the course of 24 hours, it'll be moving from west to north and then to east. And I don't think it really ever gets north of 35 degrees north latitude while it's inside 70 degrees west.
Well, as I've been saying all along, the fact that this is probably going to be it will be the first hurricane of the season, and it shows signs of ramping up to a Cat 3 or even a Cat 4. That's what has gotten a lot of people, a lot of eyes pointing in the direction of Erin. But again, you could have the strongest hurricane in the world. If it doesn't strike any land, if it doesn't make landfall anywhere, it just is going to give only some indirect effects, not direct effects. And it looks like, Joe, if we're lucky, we've been talking about maybe the Outer Banks of North Carolina, maybe a small part of Newfoundland, but it looks like right now that this system is just going to sweep on up and around and out and maybe not make landfall anywhere, which is good news. Now, for those along the Atlantic seaboard, this weekend and early next week, there'll probably be rip currents, and there'll probably be undertow, and there'll probably be high surf and swells, and so you had best stay close to the shore or don't go out in the water at all because of the fact that Erin is going to stir things up. But it looks like we'll dodge at least a bullet this time around, and I don't think, and I think you'll agree with me, I don't think anybody's going to get any major problem out of Erin, again, aside from the offshore rough seas.
Agreed. And let's, the rough seas are not going to be this weekend from the hurricane. If there's rough surf going on, I'm not sure that there will be this weekend. It'll have to do with something else, either some stray offshore thunderstorms or something along those lines. So we're not talking about this weekend. We're talking about late next week after the hurricane makes the turn and goes by. And in the meantime, we're just going to continue to be very warm and humid through Sunday. Although there's a little bit of a break tomorrow, some drier air is going to filter down from New England, but it's only going to get so far south. Maybe it gets to about New York City and northern New Jersey. Maybe it gets it to Long Island, where the dew points come down a little bit. But it's not going to be like the dry shots that we've had over the last couple of weeks, which have been much more impressive.
Right. In terms of locally here in the lower Hudson Valley, it's going to be like taking a rubber mallet to the dew point temperatures and putting a dent. I mean, today dew points were generally in the high 60s to near 70, 67, 68. Tomorrow we'll bump it down maybe to about 64, 65, which still is humid, but is just a little bit of a break, a little bit less than what we've seen today, and that may hold true for Saturday as well. And then up go the humidity again and the temperatures. We have another cold front that's going to be dropping down from upstate New York on Sunday. It looks like, Joe, much if not all of the day on Sunday could be dry.
Yes.
But the front could possibly induce a shower or thunderstorm here either by day's end on Sunday or more likely Sunday night. And then behind that front, it turns quite a bit cool. I mean, we're talking about near or above 90 on Sunday. We might be looking at an 8 or 10 degree drop in temperature behind the front in time for the start of next week on Monday.
Yeah, that's that drier air coming, that front coming through basically sets up the east-west wall of which Erin will not be able to penetrate. So yeah, it looks pretty good. Just because we do occasionally when we have these tropical systems, we have folks that'll tune in or watch the show from the islands. We do have tropical storm watches up for Anguilla and Barbuda. We have watches also up for St. Martin, both the Dutch side and the French side, and St. Bartholomew, Saba, and St. Eustatius. Any of you have ever been to St. Martin? I don't know if it's still the case, but I'm pretty sure it is. St. Martin on the island, it's half Dutch and half French. So you can gamble on the Dutch side, but you can't go on the beaches naked. You can go on the beaches naked on the French side, but you can't gamble. I Explain that to me because I have no idea why that's the way it is, but that's the way it is.
That's what Cronkite would have said, right? That's the way it is.
That's correct. Yes. Welcome tonight to everybody on the chat board and those of you lurking in the background on tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. We're here Sunday through Thursday at 7:35. We will not be here tomorrow or Saturday. If there were a storm threatening, we would be here tomorrow and or Saturday. So after tonight, we'll be back Sunday night. So subscribe to my YouTube channel. Turn your notifications on so you don't miss us. And of course, if you like the show, hit the like button. So shall we begin? Should we begin with Erin?
Yeah, let's get Erin out of the way.
Okay, that works for
then we
me.
don't have to worry about her for the rest of the show.
I've got the latest floater image in the satellite loop. I'm going to give it a quick refresh here. And one thing that's happened since yesterday, if you remember yesterday and the day before, it looked very, very ragged. You could see the circulation, but the banding was a mess and had all sorts of things going on with dry air and Saharan dust. Well, that seems to have cleared up. We've seen the system become much better organized today. The convection has been continually increasing, and you can see from the visible to the infrared that remains the case. And the feathering is going on in all quadrants. So I think that this will probably become a hurricane, if not late tonight, maybe during the day tomorrow. And it's still moving west. The Hurricane Center's earlier forecast would have had this already moving well to the west-northwest, but it still seems to be on a westerly course. That's 15 north that runs right to the south of where the core of that convection is. And if you look at the floater imagery, the storm stays in the middle and the latitude and longitude lines move. So if you notice the latitude longitude lines actually kind of nudged down a little bit south, which is an indication that the motion here is maybe starting to get a little bit of a northerly component to it, but it's still primarily a westward motion that we are seeing. And the Hurricane Center's forecast, which has been pushed a little bit more to the left by a handful of miles. You see the yellow there on the islands. Those are the tropical storm watches that are up. And they have it a hurricane by 2 p.m. tomorrow. They have it a major hurricane by 2 a.m. Sunday. It might even happen a little faster than that. And then a gradual recurve. It does get to 70 degrees west. I always thought that if there was going to be a threat to the United States, you usually will see a hurricane has to get inside 70 west. So that's sort of like the magic line, and it gets just to about 70 west on the forecast. It might actually come in a couple of more degrees. If you want, if you're looking at a storm and you're looking for some sort of high probability that it might hit landfall, then you have to see the storm get inside between 75 and 80, and that's not going to that's not likely to happen in this particular situation. I'm just leaving the door open a crack just in case. Otherwise, I would have just say it unequivocally that it's not going to happen. Certainly, based on the guidance, it doesn't seem like that is going to be an issue. But the models, we can look at a couple of them. I mean, the European and the Icon have been the furthest left of all the models the last couple of days. I think the fact that it drifted southward for a long period of time the last 2 days has made it where it may just give a glancing blow to the islands there. You see how the European handles it, gets it just east of the easternmost Bahamas, and then it makes the turn. And then as soon as it gets up almost to the latitude of Wilmington, North Carolina, it starts to move northeast and east-northeast into the open waters of the Atlantic. It's probably the most likely outcome here. And by the way, at its closest point will probably come sometime next Wednesday into early Thursday to southern New England and the northern mid-Atlantic coastline. So if we're talking about wave issues, probably not going to happen until maybe Wednesday at the earliest, I would think.
And since it's going to be passing closest to us later on Wednesday of next week, later Wednesday and Thursday, the upper level winds, the 500 millibar winds, the height lines are going to be getting closer to each other, tightening up, so to speak. And I suspect from the northwest.
The map is up on the screen, by the way.
Yeah, so I would suspect that means that come mid and late week next week, we're going to see some fresh, cool, low humidity, dry northwesterlies blowing across our area. And right after that, another upper level system is going to come and continue or maintain that northwesterly flow for a while, or take over after the effects of Erin die off. So things are going to be getting better, I think, over the next week or 10 days in terms of both temperature and also humidity, especially humidity, which has been so very consistent or persistent through much of this summertime season here in the
That
Northeast.
is for later next week, and next weekend. That is a nice deep draw for this time of year.
And again, it looks like it's going to be bringing in a lovely northwesterly flow, and that should set the stage again for a flow of drier and cooler air coming at us from southern and central Canada. Very nice.
And I think the GFS is probably on the same page. GFS has been persistently further east with this, but even the GFS now has kind of shifted a little further west with its positioning, matching more the European and the Icon. And there it is as it lifts up to the northeast and makes its way up toward Greenland and Iceland. And there's another one on the models that's behind this one, but that's like 10, that's almost 2 weeks away. So we saw what happened with this on the early model forecasts of where it took it everywhere from the Texas coast to the middle Gulf states to Florida to up the East Coast, and you can see where this is wound up. So when we look at how the next one progresses, if it does materialize, it'll be interesting to see how the shifts in the models in the long range and how that all works out. But this is a pattern overall that seems to be evolving where we're getting deliveries of cooler air and troughs that are coming down out of Canada. So that at least means that we may have more frequent visitations of cool Canadian air masses coming down. And also, you have to look at the possibility that if there is a tropical system down the road, any one of these troughs, if we keep getting troughs dropping into the eastern United States, it could eventually prove to be problematic if they time out with where the tropical system is. But they got to be perfectly in sync for something like that to happen.
I notice also that right along the Atlantic shoreline from the North and South Carolina border all the way north up to Cape Cod, they have a slight risk of high winds or gusty strong winds for August 22nd and August 23rd. That would be for next Friday, a week from tomorrow, and a week from Saturday. And that obviously would be due to that turn in the upper level winds to the northwest behind the retreating effects of Hurricane Erin as she moves away. So they're thinking that maybe there could be some gusty winds, strong winds along the coastal plain associated with Erin. But again, not hurricane force winds, but maybe winds gusting past, I don't know, 30, maybe even 40 miles an hour. But that might be a stretch at this point. We really don't know the exact track and also the exact strength of Erin, but certainly the possibility is there for late next week for some sort of indirect influence from that tropical cyclone.
The watches and warnings across the United States, really not much going on tonight. We've got some flash flood watches up at southeast Virginia and northeastern North Carolina, where the rains have been fairly persistent for the last week or more. We have heat advisories up in the middle, and I think those have got to be all red flag warnings. I'm thinking it looks like the red flag warning color because I don't see any heat advisories in surrounding western Colorado and Utah. So uh, very dry conditions there, and some fire risk. And as we check out tonight's satellite loop, there is what's left of some thunderstorms that formed over southern New Jersey, down to the Delmarva Peninsula into southeastern Virginia. Nothing much around me today. It's been a very nice, but today, Joe, here in North Georgia, was probably the most humid day that I've experienced all summer. And also this morning, this hardly ever happens. The low here this morning was 75. I mean, it goes down into the 60s every night and even down into the low 60s. That's been very common over the last couple of months. But last night it could not get lower than 75, which is really, really unusual. I don't know what
That's
was
almost
my
like Central Park.
Yeah, it was cloudy all night. We had rain, not a heavy rain last night, but it did rain on and off until the early hours of the morning. So it just was, you know, it cleared out later in the morning, like around midday, and went mostly sunny in this afternoon. But the cloud cover overnight and the rain just kept the temperatures from going anywhere last night. It was very unusual. Some more active thunderstorms, none really severe, unless it was isolated severe storms, but patchy thunderstorm activity in Mississippi and Alabama. Seeing a little bit of storm activity firing up in parts of the Rockies, and also in parts of the northern plains. And here's the radar view. One yellow box there in north central Mississippi, where we have a severe thunderstorm underway at the moment at 7:56 p.m. Eastern Time. One little flash flood warning up in central Louisiana. A couple of special marine warnings in southern Chesapeake Bay, off the coast of southeast Virginia. And there's a severe thunderstorm warning, actually one right now, south of Boston. There's a hefty looking cell that's drifting southward there. So a little bit of weather going on, nasty weather going on in in southeastern New England. Quite a few showers and a few thunderstorms, though, in the Rockies, in the central and southern Rockies, and in the Southwest. So that's got to be monsoonal, I would think.
Yeah, it's that time of the year now for them. So for if you live in Arizona or New Mexico, and even for a small section of, let's say, Utah or Colorado, yeah, this is the time for the monsoon season. The localized heavy showery rains, which indeed they are seeing right now. Now we have a cold front that is just about on top of us. It stretches probably from the western edge of Virginia northeastward to about New York, and that may also be the reason for the precipitation we just looked at in parts of New England, stretching up to about Manchester, New Hampshire, and along the Maine coastline. But as the night wears on, that slowly, and I want to underscore that word slowly, is going to sag to the south, and eventually will allow for, as Joe mentioned at the start of the show, a little bit of drier and not quite as humid air to filter in, and that will set the stage for a clear night tonight, sunny to maybe partly cloudy, fair weather clouds tomorrow. I might also point out tonight, with a light northerly wind and clear skies, radiational cooling may set the stage here in the Hudson Valley for temperatures going down as low as 64 for the rural valley spots, mainly north of I-84, to 74 for the coastline and also for urban areas like Yonkers and Mount Vernon and New Rochelle. So 64 to 74 the spread tonight, temperature-wise, and then tomorrow and again on Saturday, temperatures reaching up into the 80s. Again, just a slight dent in the humidity. And Sunday looks like it's going to turn hot again with highs again at or maybe even above 90 before the next cold front arrives to hopefully bring more relief for the start of next week.
Storm Prediction Center has a small area of slight risk in central south central South Dakota, north central Nebraska, with a marginal risk surrounding that. Otherwise, it's just basically general thunderstorm activity being indicated for the east and south and in the Ohio Valley. Tomorrow, it's a marginal risk over a large area from the Dakotas and Nebraska east across Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan. Nothing in the northeast and down into the mid-Atlantic states, down into Virginia. That is day two. That was day three. It jumped and skipped a frame. This is tomorrow. South Dakota to Wisconsin with a slight risk in Wisconsin and a 2% tornado risk there. Day three is this large area of marginal risk from South Dakota and Nebraska east across Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan. And as far as rainfall is concerned over the next 7 days, if we get a thunderstorm with that weather front on Sunday, it's not going to produce very much. WPC only has a tenth of an inch or less for southeastern New England down to the Delmarva Peninsula, a little bit more inland in Pennsylvania, a quarter to a few places with a half an inch, and then a half an inch to an inch from Virginia south to South Carolina and coastal Georgia and down through Florida. Heavy rains from central Minnesota across Wisconsin on the order of several inches or more in some places. And you see the monsoonal rains coming into the southwest and some unusual rain for the Pacific Northwest and up along the Canadian coast. So it really is this weather front that is sort of finally moving south of us. We get into an onshore flow tomorrow and Saturday. That'll help to hold the temperatures down. A little bit of dew point relief on Friday for upstate New York and New England for sure. We're kind of on the edge of it. And then it just goes back to being very warm and humid. Here comes the cold front for Sunday. You can see Erin on the lower right starting to come onto the scene. Maybe a shower or thunderstorm Sunday evening when the front goes by, and then a nice dry high for Monday into Tuesday. Erin moves up the coast and then exits out to the east-northeast. It's kind of, in a way, if this were the type of storm that were to run up to Nova Scotia, the unintended consequence would be a lot of cool, dry air being funneled southward into the northeast and mid-Atlantic states, and even the southeast on the backside. But because it's making such a sharp turn to the east, the drier air that's lodged up in eastern Canada gets hung up for a while. It gets into New England, but it doesn't get much further south than that. And then you get another front to come through. And then, as Joe pointed out, if the models are correct, there's another more impressive cool, dry air mass that comes into the east during the week of the 25th. And if the GFS is correct, and some of the other models are kind of on the same notion, that there might be another hurricane running around. You can see what today's run did. So, it's sort of useless to give any credence to it anyway. Yeah, there probably will be another tropical storm, but I'm not going to, there's no need to go crazy over, whatever the runs are showing at this stage. And by the way, the chairman, Scott Briller, hits Super Chat tonight. Thanks for hitting the tip jar. And it also means that it is now, I think, time for tonight's Briller Jeopardy. Are you ready, Mr. Rayo?
Hi, is it my turn? I think I have the questions tonight.
I believe you do.
Yes. I'm going to have to go back to Facebook for a moment and do this and do that.
Yeah, because I had the C's last night, so I guess tonight is the D's.
Or if Scott decides to go in a different direction and mix up the letters, it is indeed tonight D and E.
Oh, D and E. All right, D and E, retired storm names. D and E, don't Google. Use your extensive knowledge of hurricanes and tropical storms, folks, to come up with the answers, okay? And Christinapedia hits the first one with Dorian. And Rich Rothmansky, I bet, got another one with Dora. And Patrick Darcy, another one with Dean. And Kenny Salerno, another one with David. Would you please confirm these for me?
Didn't we do these?
No, we did C last night.
Oh, wait a minute! I did when I sang Dean Martin. That was for low atmospheric or barometric pressure. That was nothing to do with the retired. So again, what do we have? We have Dean. We have David.
Dorian, Dora, Dean, and David.
Dean and yes, I think we have 4. You didn't give me a chance to tell you how many there are.
How many?
There are 8. There are 8 retired D names.
Well, Anthony. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
4 retired E names and 8 retired D names.
So we got 4 of the D so far. Well, let's make it 5 and add Anthony's contribution, which is Donna.
Donna. Well, of course, Donna. Donna was a biggie even up here in the tri-state area back in 1960.
Let's also add. We're not at the E. We're going to do the E's in a minute. Let's work at the D's. Let's add. William Uber says Diana, and Norm Roberts says Diane.
I know it sometimes gets confusing, but it is true. Diana and Diane both are retired names for hurricanes, which means we've got all but one.
All but one. Okay. Someone earlier mentioned Debbie.
Well, Debbie, I remember it was down like in the Gulf area near Texas, and it was a very formidable storm, but it was not formidable enough to retire.
Okay. So there's one left. Let's see.
I wonder if Mr. Cassia would have any idea.
Oh, well, Northern Grace got it with Dennis. Dennis!
Yep.
Well, there you
go.
So
that takes care of the D's.
Now the
E's.
Let's see if we can be just as quick with the E's. And Rich Rothmansky starts the ball rolling with Edna.
Yep.
If Erin were retired, Latex Dreams, we would not be dealing with a storm named Erin right now. David Danio Seismic Hoywell says Earl.
Says who?
Earl.
Oh, Earl. No, Earl did not make it.
Maggie P. Eloise.
Eloise is on the list. So now we have two of the four.
Johnny Sack 77 says Ernestine. Ernestine, I don't think there ever was a Hurricane Ernestine. I think she works for the telephone
Gracious,
company.
gracious, good Lord.
Exactly. Harold Olson with Edith.
Edith? No, Edith did not make it.
Really?
I think it was Archie's fault.
Ms. Svalerite with Eloise.
We already did Eloise.
Oh, we did.
We have Edna and we have Eloise. There are two more.
Joe Gaffney with Esther.
Esther, good choice, but not good enough. Not on the list.
Did we do Edna?
Edna and Eloise.
Those are the only two we've gotten so far.
Not Aetna. Aetna's an insurance company, isn't it?
Right. Those are the only two we've gotten so far?
Right. 2 out of 4. We're halfway there.
How about the Greek storm Eta, ETA?
No. Nope.
Nope.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Maggie P. She got the number 3, Erica.
Erica, and William Uber also got Erica in there too. How many left?
Just one.
Just one. Oh, David, Danny O'Seismic, Coy Wolf, Emily.
Well, I'm going to give this to Frank R. It's not the spelling that the chairman gave, but Elena or Elena.
Oh, Elena.
Elena.
Elena. All right. Well,
Rich
that's actually
Rotmansky also with Elena.
Harold Olson. Hasn't been a Hurricane Enzo.
Hey, what are you, a Stuarty?
Right. You know, my mother was the female version of Enzo because she was known as Enza with an A. Because Enzo was short for Vincenzo, and Enza is short for Vincenza.
Now wait a minute. Rich Rotmansky says there were 5, and not 4. I want to go back and make sure that I did give the right number here. Hang on for a second. Well, he has 4 here. He has Edna, Elena, Eloise, and Erica. So what's number 5, Rich?
Yeah, Rich, tell us, what was number 5? He's leaving us in mystery. I'm sure he says Ada.
Ada.
The Greek name, Ada.
Well, it's not on the chairman's list here. I only follow what the chairman tells me.
Well, you know what? They're not going to use the Greek. They're not using the Greek alphabet anymore. So, at least I don't think they are. Didn't they come up with an alternate list?
I think they came up with a list where they're not Greek letters.
Yeah, so they're done with the Greek letters, so they're effectively all retired. So there you go. I've solved the problem. I've retired them all.
Yeah.
You know, you would think, by the way, that one of these days they'll put Joseph, or Joey.
They've never had a Joe, a Joseph, a Joey.
No.
They've never had.
They've had Jose.
Jose.
They've had Juan. On the Pacific side, they've had John. But on the Atlantic side, they've never had Joseph. So I'm going to. That is my campaign. That I will be running on the platform of having a hurricane named Joseph. How's that?
It'll happen someday. Maybe.
Well, maybe. We'll see. All right, everybody got the weekend coming up. So, all right, well, the Hurricane Center listening, Anthony. Well, you never know. They may be also among those that lurk in the background here Sunday through Thursday at 7:35. Any big plans for the weekend?
Yes, the German American Social Club is having their annual barbecue meeting. And if you're a member in good standings, you can come on Saturday and eat all the barbecue food that you'd like. Hamburgers, hot dogs, bratwurst. It's all there for the taking.
Oh, all right.
But you have to be a member. So.
Okay. I've got nothing planned, so at least at the moment. So we'll see where it takes us. And in the meantime, I think it's time we say goodnight.
I will say good night and
And I will
good
say
luck.
goodnight too. And everybody have a great weekend. And we'll see you back on Sunday at 7:35 p.m. Ta ta.
Bye bye.